All right, 01B, Early Aviation. And we're going to talk about dirigibles. A blimp is a type of a dirigible. There's a Zeppelin. Pardon me? Yes, I want you to take notes. I mean, if you don't want to do that, okay, I'm not going to do that. But this is in our second class. This is in aviation history. And so I would recommend you put a big title on whatever page you're at. 01B. Oh, wait. You know what? Yeah, we finished balloons, so away we go into early aviation. We're still in chapter 1, but now we're going to talk about dirigibles. Look at that. They're almost all I's in dirigibles except for the E. Why didn't they just put all I's in there? Then it'd be easy to spell. Nobody ever asked me how to spell English words. So what is a dirigible? A dirigible is a vehicle that is lighter than air. So typically, in the early days, they may put hydrogen in them, and now we just put helium in them, because helium won't catch on fire. Helium is an inert gas, and it can't catch on fire. I don't know how come it makes you talk like Donald Trump, but it can't catch on fire. So it's lighter than air, and it's going to have some kind of an engine or a motor and a propeller. I guess somebody could just have a jet engine on it, but I've never seen a dirigible built with a jet engine. I've only seen them with propeller and piston engines running off of gasoline or diesel. And then you got to be able to steer them. In fact, dirigible is the French word for steerable. And I would try my French accent, but it's terrible. Does anybody have a good French accent and you want to say dirigible? Okay. Oh, Johnny, you want to say it? Is your French accent pretty good? You just don't want to tell anybody about it? You haven't been taking French lessons? How many people have taken French in class, in school? Oh, okay. So some of you could say dirigible in French, you just don't want to. Yes, Mr. Johnson, that is correct. I do not want to have my French accent in class. Okay, thanks for the chuckles over there. I appreciate that. So that's the three things about dirigibles. They're lighter than air, they're powered, and you can steer them. Okay, so what are the main types of dirigibles? There's three main types. There's the non-rigid type, and those are the things we call blimps. Then there's the semi-rigid, and then there's the rigid. So when we say rigid, we're talking about, if you've ever seen a blimp or a Zeppelin, it's a long, big thing like a cigar, it's an inflated balloon, so it's kind of bulgy on the sides. I'll show you a picture pretty soon. And most of the blimps that are flying around today, correction, most of the dirigibles flying around today, are blimps, in that the pressure of the helium inside the bag makes it keep its shape. So if you went up to most blimps flying around the United States today, and you took a knife and cut a big long hole in it, like 20 but there's usually 2 or 3 bags in it, so if one starts losing, the other one don't. If you cut a hole in all of them and slowly let it inflate, the whole thing would deflate except for the gondola where the people are and where the engines are. So they have to keep it pressurized. The pressure inside the bag, it's like a balloon. You shake it up before you roll out, and when you roll up the balloon, it only keeps its shape because you have air pressure in it. That's what it means by non-rigid. Semi-rigid is when you have a little bit of structure. Usually it's just the bottom of the ship, of the blimp, is rigid. In fact, I'll show you a picture here. And then rigid means you have a whole airframe. So here's a Goodyear blimp. And this whole bag keeps its shape by staying pressurized. Now it's hard to see, but there's a couple of engines down on the gondola. Here is an old school dirigible. And you may be able to see right here, you can kind of see the bottom of it. The bottom of it, there's aluminum metal in this bottom from the tail all the way to the front. And so, but the top of this keeps its shape due to pressure. So this is a semi-rigid dirigible because it's kind of rigid and it's kind of not. And then Zeppelins, or as we call them here, rigid, you can see there's an aluminum framework that makes it keep its shape. Even if the gases left the bags completely, this rigid dirigible will still keep its shape. And if you look at Zeppelins from Germany and Zeppelins from the United States, would you believe it if I told you that the United States flew Zeppelins? The United States Army, correction, the United States Navy had Zeppelins that were built by the Zeppelin Company in Germany prior to World War II? Okay, we'll get there. So that's the 3 basic types of dirigibles. First time anybody ever flew was a guy named Giffard, and I bet you no one in here will be able to tell me what country he did it in. France. That's a good thing I didn't bet any money, because, yeah, you're right. The first dirigible flew in France. It had an engine that was powered by steam, so it actually had a fire and boiling water. And they were probably using hydrogen, too. So, yeah, let's have an open flame while we're flying a hydrogen balloon. And it went 6 miles an hour. Woohoo! Okay, maybe that's not that exciting. And it was done in 1852, so we're looking a good solid 71 years. When did the Montgolfier brothers go? Was that 1783? So 93, 03, 13, 23, 33, 43. So we're looking at 68 years from the Montgolfier brothers. And remember, it was late that same year. Was it 1783? It was late that same year that the first people did a hydrogen balloon. So 68 years later, before somebody actually made a dirigible that had some power on it that they could point it and go. Can anybody think of how think about 6 miles an hour? You build your dirigible, let's say you put 3 people in it. It's got steam, you put some extra wood, you go 103 people, they're just the plan. And you go 6 miles an hour. Can anybody think of the downside of this device? Other than the fact you've got open fire, and you probably have hydrogen in your bags. What? It's slow. So what happens when the wind is 7 miles an hour? You're not going against the wind. Yeah, so that's the big problem. It's when the wind is faster than you are, it doesn't work out very well. So here's a diagram of what they believe that first one looked like. I guess maybe it was just one human. So maybe he wasn't that busy. He could actually stoke the fire. All right, the first dirigibles could run off of 4 different things here. They had batteries in the 1800s? Yes, they had batteries in the 1800s. I might have $1. Can anybody tell me what coal gas is? And don't say that's what a miner has when they eat too many beans. Thank you for laughing, Brian. I mean, you actually laughed there, Brian. Thank you. That's not what it is. You can actually heat up coal and some flammable gases will come off of it. And you can capture it like hydrogen. And then you can burn it. In any case, we're pretty familiar with gasoline and electric. So you can power dirigibles with a lot of different things. And of course, we've already covered the main problem with early dirigibles is they were so slow you couldn't counteract the wind. So they were not good for transportation. You couldn't say, well, we're going to start an airline and we're going to fly from Paris to Cologne, France. And our blimp goes 8 miles an hour. And the wind today is 10 miles an hour and it's in the wrong direction. Well, I guess we're going to northern France instead of southern France. No, that doesn't work out. So the big problem with the early dirigibles is they were so slow they could not counteract the wind. I hate that. I mean, if I want to go somewhere. Oh my, it all showed up at once. This is going to be our last slide for the day. I'm going to let you write some stuff down and then I'll show you some pictures. If you guys are having fun in class, be careful. It's not against the rules. Seattle, huh? Come to the You know it rains there, right? It rains there. Water falls out of the sky. But the good news is they have the Space Needle, and they got Mount Rainier. And it's the home of Starbucks coffee. But mostly it's the Boeing Aviation Museum. That's totally the best thing about it. So, the first U.S., and when I say U.S. up here, I'm talking about the United States Army. The United States Army, they got their first dirigible in 1908. I think I got a picture. Ta-da! Woohoo! 2 people. I'm trying to see where the engine is. I'm thinking that this is the engine, but I can't see a propeller. And I'm pretty sure this, I don't know, I think that's ballast. I think that's a ballast. Can you see it? Oh, all the way in the front. Good eye, good eye, good eye. So there's a propeller. I don't think this was really useful. But, you know, that's just my opinion. That's a real picture. U.S. Army, 1908. Here's a Zeppelin. Zeppelin, literally the guy, the last name was Zeppelin. And we're going to talk about Zeppelin more later in the semester. But he was in Germany, and he founded a company, and he wanted to have an airline that ran off of airships. And in 1910, airplanes were not very big. In 1910, you could carry more people on one of his Zeppelins than you could on any other aircraft, probably times 2 or 3. I'm sorry, but that clock's a minute fast, so we get to go till a minute after. Here's a picture of a diagram of a blimp trying to drop a bomb during World War I. There were, a dirigible, a rigid airship, or Zeppelin, if you will. Several countries had dirigibles, rigid dirigibles during World War I, and they did drop bombs, but they weren't very effective. Part of the problem is you could shoot these down with enemy airplanes pretty easy, especially since they were full of hydrogen. All right. This is the R-34. This is the first flying machine that ever crossed the Atlantic non-stop, and they did it in 1919. So that was only that was immediately after World War I was over. They flew the British Navy, the British Air Force. In Great Britain, the Air Force got the blimps. In the United States, the Navy got the blimps. I'm not sure why they did that. But they flew across it. Could you imagine that? What was the weather forecasting? I know it's probably better in 1919 than in the 1800s. Yeah, let's take off from England and let's go to Canada. And, you know, keep our fingers crossed there's no thunderstorms in the middle. Okay, let's go. They made it. They made it. They made it. They made it. We're going to talk about more of this stuff on another day. So tomorrow,